Would you ever hire a 7-year-old to speak on behalf of a job applicant and take her seriously? That's exactly what happened one morning at the towering headquarters of Walker and Comers in downtown Chicago, when a little girl in an oversized navy dress walked into a corporate lobby, clutched a beige folder to her chest, and demanded an interview not for herself, but for her mother, who was lying in a hospital bed. No one expected what came next. Not the receptionist who first met her, not the CEO who just happened to witness the scene, and certainly not the employees who would soon find themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about hiring fairness and who truly deserves a second chance. This is not just a story about a job. It's a story about courage and justice, a system built to exclude, and the little girl brave enough to challenge it all. Stay with us, because what started as one child's desperate plea to help her mother turned into a movement that changed an entire company and just might change the way you see the world. It was a chilly Tuesday morning in downtown Chicago when Lily Carter stepped through the towering glass doors of Walker & Co. Enterprises. Her navy blue dress hung loosely over her small frame, and her fingers gripped a beige folder to her chest like it was made of gold. She didn't pause at the entrance, didn't hesitate before walking straight up to the front desk. The receptionist, Karen Doyle, barely looked up from her computer. "Hi, how can I help?" Her voice faltered when she saw the child. "Sweetheart, are you lost?" Lily straightened her back. "I'm here for the interview. My name is Lily Carter. I'm representing my mom, Claire Carter." Karen blinked. "I'm sorry. What?" "The interview," Lily repeated. "My mom's in the hospital, but she really needs this job, so I came instead. I can tell you everything about her qualifications." The air at the reception desk shifted. Karen leaned in. Something about the girl's voice, so calm, so rehearsed, made it clear she wasn't playing. "She passed out last night," Lily continued. "The doctor said it's anemia and stress. She's going to be okay, but she needs to rest. Please, just let me explain why she's the best person for this job." Karen looked down at the folder Lily handed her. Inside were printed resumes, glowing letters of recommendation, and a diploma copy that read, "Claire Carter, Bachelor of Business Administration with honors." Before she could respond, the elevator behind them chimed. Ethan Walker stepped out. The CEO of Walker & Co. rarely took notice of what happened in the lobby, but this time something caught his eye. A little girl standing at the front desk, speaking with unusual authority. He slowed his pace, curious. "Karen," he asked, adjusting the cuffs of his tailored suit. "Is there a problem?" Karen opened her mouth but said nothing. Lily turned toward him, extended her small hand, and said, "Hi, I'm Lily Carter. My mom's supposed to be here for the HR coordinator interview. She couldn't make it, so I came for her." Ethan stared. He wasn't sure whether to be impressed, worried, or both. "And what do you want me to do, Lily?" "I'd like to speak with you. I have her qualifications. I can tell you everything. She deserves a chance." For a moment, the usually unshakable CEO hesitated. Then, to everyone's shock, including his own, he said, "All right, come with me." Karen nearly spilled her coffee. Inside his sleek, glass-walled office on the 20th floor, Lily sat with her legs dangling from a leather chair, her hands still clutching the folder. Ethan ordered a fruit plate and orange juice from the cafe downstairs. Lily hadn't eaten. That alone said everything. "Better?" he asked as she nibbled a strawberry. She nodded. "Now I can tell you about my mom." He studied her as she opened the folder again, laying out each paper like it was part of a well-rehearsed routine. "My mom's name is Claire Carter. She's 28. She has 5 years of HR experience at 2 companies. She left her last job when I got really sick. I was in the hospital with pneumonia for a week. After that, her boss told her mothers weren't reliable." Ethan frowned. He said that Lily nodded. They didn't say it directly, but they told her maybe she should find something more flexible. Since then, she's been to 17 interviews. I wrote a list. She pulled out a sheet of notebook paper with carefully drawn lines in small, tidy handwriting. Ethan glanced down. One name jumped out, Walker & Co. Rejected, no interview. He flipped through the folder again. There it was. A rejection letter from his own company. No reason listed, no interview given. "Your mom applied here already." "Yes, 2 months ago. She was really hopeful, but she got that letter. She cried, but only for a little bit. Then she made spaghetti and told me everything would be fine." Ethan's throat tightened. "Do you want to know the truth, Mr. Walker?" Lily asked. "I do. She didn't want me to come today. She doesn't know I'm here. But I heard her talking to my aunt on the phone last night. She said if she doesn't find work this week, we'll have to move to Des Moines to live with Aunt Rachel. I don't want to go. My school is here. My friends are here. This is our home." She handed him the final piece in her folder, a handwritten letter on school-lined paper. "Dear Mr. Walker, my mom is the best mom and the best worker in the world. She takes care of me, works hard, studies, and never gives up. If you give her a chance, I promise she'll never disappoint you. Please give her a job. Sincerely, Lily Carter." Ethan read the letter in silence. The corners of the page trembled slightly as he held it. "What hospital is she in, Chicago General?" "Room 312. She shares it with 5 other women." He looked out the window toward the south side where the public hospital towered like a forgotten monument. "Lily," he said quietly, "would you like me to go meet your mom?" Her eyes lit up. "Really, you'd come with me?" "Yes. I think I need to meet Claire Carter in person." They left immediately. Ethan had never stepped foot inside a public hospital before. The smell of bleach and desperation hit him hard. Lily navigated the chaos like a seasoned nurse, leading him through crowded hallways and up to the 3rd floor. "She's by the window," Lily said. "She's very tired, but she'll be happy to see you." Inside room 312, Claire lay pale and motionless, her brown hair tied back loosely, an IV running into her arm. Her eyes fluttered open as Lily approached. "Mom, I brought someone." Claire tried to sit up, her body trembling. Her eyes met Ethan's. Confusion, embarrassment, fear. "Mr. Walker, I didn't know." "Lily, what have you done?" "I told him the truth, Mom, about your work, and your letters, and the list, and the spaghetti." Claire looked mortified. "Sir, I'm so sorry. This is highly inappropriate." "Not at all," Ethan interrupted gently. "Your daughter is one of the bravest people I've ever met, and very persuasive. I appreciate your kindness. But I don't want sympathy. I want a fair opportunity. And I don't think barging into a CEO's day qualifies as that." Ethan smiled faintly. "No, it doesn't. But maybe it qualifies as something more important." He turned to the nurse nearby. "Can you tell me what she needs to stay here longer?" The nurse hesitated. "She needs a week more care at least, but there's no insurance. She's planning to discharge herself tomorrow." "Don't," Ethan said, pulling out his phone. "Let me make a few calls." 30 minutes later, Claire was approved for a transfer to St. Vincent's private clinic, all expenses covered. Ethan framed it as a new candidate care program, but everyone knew it was more than that. As the ambulance pulled away, Lily looked up at him. "Does this mean my mom might still get the job?" Ethan didn't have an answer. Not yet. But one thing was certain, this little girl had just cracked open the heart of a man who thought he'd seen it all. We're sorry to pause the story here, but what happens next might just surprise you even more. Do you believe a 7-year-old can truly change a company's future? And should a CEO ever question his own system because of a child's courage? If this touched you even a little, please drop a heart and give this video a like. It means the world. The next morning, the elevator doors of Walker & Co. slid open promptly at 8:00 a.m., and there she was, Lily Carter, with her folder, her homework, and that determined glint in her eyes. She walked past reception like she owned the place, waved at Karen Doyle, then made her way to a small table Ethan had personally ordered to be set up near the lobby. It had colored pencils, children's books, and a seat just her size. The employees didn't quite know what to make of her at first. A few smiled politely, others were confused. But within 2 days, Lily knew everyone's name, what departments they worked in, and who drank their coffee with too much sugar. "Good morning, Mr. Miller," she called out as the CFO passed by. "Good morning, Lily," George Miller replied, startled. "How did you know I had a presentation today?" "You left your note cards on the copier," she said matter-of-factly. "They're under the stapler." He blinked. "You're terrifyingly observant." "I'm helpful," she said with a shrug. But while Lily brought a strange warmth to the front of the building, something much colder began to unfold upstairs. Ethan Walker couldn't get her letter out of his mind, or the look on Claire's face in that hospital room, so he pulled up the company's hiring logs. His curiosity turned into disbelief. In just the past 2 years, over 60 highly qualified female applicants, all mothers, many single, had been rejected without a single interview. One name jumped out again: Claire Carter. Rejected, not culturally aligned, no further explanation. Ethan called Monica Collins, the head of HR, into his office. "What exactly does not culturally aligned mean?" he asked. Monica stiffened. "It's part of our screening process. We aim for candidates who can fully dedicate themselves to the demands of our workplace, long hours, travel, full availability. So we've been turning away mothers. We've been prioritizing availability and flexibility," Monica corrected. Ethan raised his voice slightly. "Monica, how many single mothers have we hired in the last 2 years?" She looked away. "None. None. No, sir." A silence fell between them like a guillotine. "I want a full report," Ethan said. "Every rejected file flagged under this so-called alignment issue, and bring me the minutes from the executive meeting where this was approved." Monica hesitated. "That directive came from you, sir. Last year's cost efficiency initiative. You signed it." Ethan felt the floor shift beneath him. He remembered the meeting. Vaguely. Charts, graphs, discussions of streamlining. He had no idea that decision had become a weapon of exclusion. Downstairs, Lily continued being a curious fixture, asking executives about their projects, offering innocent insights that somehow hit uncomfortably close to home. "Why does everyone walk so fast when they're holding coffee?" she asked Samantha Hill in marketing. "Because we're stressed," Samantha replied. "Why? My mom says if you hate your job, it's not the coffee's fault." Samantha laughed for the first time in a week. 3 days later, Claire Carter walked into Walker & Co. wearing a navy blazer she had carefully pressed that morning. It wasn't new, but it was spotless. Her hair was pulled into a simple ponytail, her makeup subtle, her hands visibly trembling. She was ushered into a sleek conference room with glass walls and a long oak table. Waiting for her was the full interview panel: George Miller from Finance, Patricia Moore from Operations, Charles Grant from HR, and Monica Collins herself. Ethan Walker sat silently at the head of the table. Claire sat hands folded back straight. "Mrs. Carter," Monica began, "your qualifications are strong, but we'd like to understand how you'd balance the demands of this job with your responsibilities as a mother." Claire smiled, but it was the kind of smile people give right before a storm. "I'd manage them the same way any man would manage being a father, with planning, professionalism, and a phone that never leaves my hand." George Miller raised a brow. "What if your daughter got sick the same day as a major project deadline?" "I'd do what I've always done," Claire said. "Find a solution, delegate, manage. I've been a one-woman team for 7 years. I know how to juggle." Charles leaned forward. "Can we trust that your home life won't interfere with your work here?" Claire met his eyes directly. "Can I trust that your job won't interfere with your commitment to fairness?" There was a pause, and then something extraordinary happened. Patricia Moore, who had remained quiet until now, smiled. "I like her." Claire finished the interview with a poised yet passionate argument about inclusivity, balance, and the untapped potential of candidates overlooked by biased systems. The room was silent when she stood to leave. 15 minutes later, Ethan caught up with her outside the elevator. "Claire," he said, "the committee voted unanimously. You're hired." Claire froze. "Unanimous?" Ethan nodded. "But before you sign anything, I need to ask you something honestly. Is this job offer enough, or does it feel like a dressed-up apology?" She looked at him carefully. "That depends. Is this your way of changing things or just erasing guilt?" Ethan hesitated. "I'm not asking for a favor," Claire said firmly. "I'm asking for a chance. That's all I've ever wanted." Ethan held out his hand. "Then let's give each other a real shot." As Claire stepped into the elevator, her heart pounded, not with fear, but with something new: hope. Meanwhile, in the lobby, Lily was coloring a picture of a woman in a superhero cape standing in front of a tall building. Underneath, she wrote, "My mom works here now." "We're so sorry to pause the story right here, especially now that things are getting real. But we promise what comes next is going to leave you thinking long after it ends." Do you think Claire will truly be able to change the system from the inside out? And should a second chance always come with accountability? If this chapter moved you, please drop a heart and give this video a like. Your support keeps these stories alive. Do you know sometimes real change doesn't come from boardroom strategy or corporate memos? Sometimes it walks in quietly wearing a blue dress that's too big and clutching a folder full of dreams. 3 months had passed since Claire Carter's first official day at Walker & Co. The HR department no longer looked the same, and neither did the rest of the company. The moment Claire stepped into her new role, she knew what had to be done. Not just fix a broken hiring system, but reshape the very culture that allowed it to exist. She worked tirelessly. Long hours, hard conversations, uncomfortable truths. The first thing she changed was the screening process. No more subjective judgments about cultural fit. No more assumptions that family responsibilities made someone unreliable. Instead, resumes were anonymized. Skills were tested. Real value was prioritized. The results were immediate. Diversity and new hires surged. Employee retention improved. And something even more remarkable happened. People started talking to each other. Departments that barely acknowledged one another before now collaborated. The break room didn't feel cold anymore. It felt like a place where people belonged. And every Friday afternoon, you could hear laughter echo from the small lounge off the lobby. That was Lily Carter's territory. She was now unofficially known as the company's little ambassador. She helped new employees find their way around organized coloring contests for the kids of staff who stopped by after school, and even gave her own opinions during marketing meetings when invited, of course. "My mom says if you talk over people, you're not a leader, just loud," she once told the head of sales, who paused, then took the note seriously. Ethan Walker watched all of this quietly, sometimes from the hallway, sometimes through the glass panels of his office. His company had always been successful on paper. Profitable, efficient, modern. But now it was something more. It was human. That fall, Claire presented the quarterly impact report to the executive board. She highlighted numbers that even the most skeptical member couldn't argue with. Employee satisfaction was at an all-time high, absenteeism had dropped by nearly 30%, and new hire performance metrics had jumped across all departments. But what truly silenced the room was this: before these changes, Claire said, her voice steady, many of the people who now help this company thrive would never have made it past our front door, and we would have never known what we missed. The room applauded. Even Monica Collins, who once resisted every change, nodded with quiet respect. After the meeting, Ethan caught up with Claire in the hallway. "You ever think about going further with this?" he asked. She turned to him, puzzled. "Further how other companies have reached out," he said. "They've seen what you've built. They want you to consult. There's even interest from the city government, a pilot program to reform hiring practices in public agencies." Claire hesitated. "That would mean less time here. Not if you structure it right. Weekends. Project-based. You stay on with us, but you help others do what you've done here." Her eyes lit up just a little. "I'd have to talk to Lily. She thinks I already work too much. That's what dinner tables are for. Negotiation." That night, Lily helped her mom bake chocolate chip cookies in their small kitchen. They sat at the table after talking about everything and nothing. When Claire mentioned the consulting offer, Lily thought for a moment, then said, "Do they need help with hiring? Like they don't let moms in either." "Some of them, yes." "Then I think you should do it, but only if we can still have cookie nights." "Deal," Claire smiled. 6 months later, Walker & Co. had become a model employer for the city. Their practices had been featured in 2 national HR journals, and Claire had spoken at a conference in New York where she received a standing ovation, not for being a single mother who made it, but for being a leader who changed the game for everyone else. And Lily. She had started writing her own book. The title, "The Girl with the Folder Who Changed the Rules." On a rainy Thursday afternoon, Ethan found himself walking past the small break room where Lily was tutoring 2 younger kids in math. Claire stood nearby, reviewing emails on her tablet. He paused. "You know," he said, "I used to think success was measured in profit margins and expansion charts." "And now," Claire asked without looking up. "Now I think it's measured in the laughter echoing through your HR department, and in one little girl who made an entire company stop and ask itself, 'What are we doing?'" Claire looked at him and smiled. She didn't just ask. She demanded answers. They both watched Lily help a child fold a paper plane. She never knew how broken the system was, Claire added. And because of that, she believed it could be fixed. They stood in silence for a long moment, listening to the laughter and the rustling of paper wings in flight. Because sometimes real change doesn't need permission. It just needs someone small and brave enough to show up. "We're honored you stayed with us to the end of this journey, but now we want to hear from you. Do you believe companies should change how they evaluate talent to build a truly fair future? And do you think children sometimes see the world more clearly than we do? Tell us what you think. Comment number 3 if this story moved you. Comment number 1 if it didn't quite land. Comment number 2 if you found it okay, but not special. And let us know what country you're watching from. We'd love to know how far this story traveled. If you believe in stories that inspire real change, don't forget to drop a heart and share this video with someone who still believes in second chances.